the White Bronco Chase. On June 17, 1994, former NFL star O.J. Simpson became the subject of the most watched police chase in American history. 5 days earlier, his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman had been found murdered outside her Los Angeles home. Police identified Simpson as the primary suspect and arranged for him to surrender at 11 a.m. that Friday. Simpson failed to appear. Message. Shortly before 6 p.m., Simpson himself called 911, and police traced his cell phone signal to Interstate 5 near Santa Ana. At approximately 6:20 p.m., a motorist also spotted Simpson in the backseat of a white Ford Bronco driven by his friend Al Cowlings in Orange County. Police attempted to pull the vehicle over, but Cowlings refused to stop, telling 911 that Simpson had a gun to his own head. Rather than force a confrontation, police decided to follow at a safe distance. The Bronco drew a dozen police cars. News helicopters tracked the chase from above, broadcasting live footage. Television networks interrupted the NBA Finals to show Simpson's Bronco crawling along the freeway. Thousands of people. The real scene continued for nearly 2 hours and 60 miles. At 7:57 p.m., the Bronco pulled into Simpson's Brentwood estate, where supporters had already gathered. Simpson refused to exit the vehicle. After approximately 50 minutes of negotiations, Simpson finally emerged at 8:47 p.m. and surrendered to police. He was arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder. The chase was watched by an estimated 95 million people. The Southern California Manhunt. On February 3, 2013, former Los Angeles police officer Christopher Dorner began a killing spree targeting LAPD officers and their families. Dorner, fired from the department in 2008, published a manifesto online detailing his grievances and promising revenge. His first victims were 28-year-old Monica Kwan, daughter of a former LAPD captain, and her fiancé Keith Lawrence, both shot to death in their car. 3 days later, on February 7th, Dorner ambushed 2 Riverside police officers, killing Michael Crane and seriously wounding another. The LAPD launched one of the largest manhunts in California history. Women were wounded by the officers' gunfire. The manhunt intensified when police received reports that Dorner had fled to the San Bernardino Mountains. On February 12th, he took the cabin owners hostage at a property near Big Bear Lake, tying them up before stealing their purple Nissan SUV. One of the homeowners freed themselves at 12:20 p.m. and called 911. Minutes later, Fish and Wildlife officers spotted the stolen and crashed it before running into a nearby cabin. Police surrounded the building and a fierce gun battle erupted. Dorner fired at officers with multiple weapons, killing San Bernardino County Sheriff's Deputy Jeremiah McKay and wounding another deputy. Police fired tear gas into the cabin, which caught fire. As flames engulfed the structure, a single gunshot was heard from inside. When firefighters extinguished the blaze, they found Dorner's body with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The 9-day manhunt had left 5 people dead, including Dorner. The Rodney King watching a basketball game with friends Bryant Allen and Freddie Helms. California Highway Patrol officers noticed King's car traveling at approximately 110 miles per hour and activated their lights and siren. King, who was on parole for robbery and had been drinking, later said he feared returning to prison for a parole violation. Instead of stopping, he accelerated to speeds over 115 miles per hour. The high-speed chase through the San Fernando Valley lasted approximately 8 miles. King ran red lights and stop signs, drove on the wrong side of the road, and narrowly avoided multiple collisions. CHP transferred the pursuit to LAPD as King exited the freeway. King eventually stopped at the entrance to Hanson Dam Park. Officers ordered King and his 2 passengers to exit the vehicle. The passengers complied immediately. King remained in his car and patting the ground. Officers later testified they believed he was under the influence of PCP, though toxicology reports did not confirm PCP, showing alcohol and marijuana. 4 LAPD officers, Stacy Kuhn, Lawrence Powell, Timothy Wind, and Theodore Brazino, approached King. When he did not comply with orders to lie face down, they attempted to subdue him with a taser. When that failed, they began beating him with batons. Unknown to the officers, nearby resident George Holliday was filming from his apartment balcony. The footage showed officers striking King more than 50 times with metal batons while he lay on the ground. The beating left King with multiple facial fractures, a broken ankle, and numerous bruises and lacerations. Nationwide protests, and eventually the 1992 Los Angeles riots after the officers were acquitted in April 1992. The Colorado crime spree. On March 13, 2014, Ryan Cole Stone began a crime spree in Longmont, Colorado, that would result in one of the state's most notorious police chases. The 28-year-old started at a gas station where he stole an SUV with a 4-year-old child strapped in the back seat. Stone fled south on Interstate 25 toward Denver, with police in pursuit. He drove at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour through the Denver metro area during morning rush hour. In Brighton, north of Denver, Stone crashed the SUV into a minivan, but left the unharmed child behind. He immediately dragged a driver from another vehicle and stole that car, continuing his rampage. Stone raced through the Denver area, weaving recklessly through traffic. Near Denver International Airport, he lost control and crashed the second stolen vehicle. He then carjacked a third vehicle at gunpoint, forcing the driver out of a pickup truck. During the pursuit, and causing catastrophic leg and foot injuries that required multiple surgeries. The chase had now covered over 75 miles across 5 counties over approximately 90 minutes. Officers attempted multiple times to stop Stone with spike strips, but he either avoided them or continued driving on damaged tires. Finally, around 8 a.m., Stone crashed the third vehicle on Interstate 25 in Lone Tree, Douglas County. Officers surrounded the crashed vehicle with weapons drawn. Stone attempted to flee on foot, but was quickly apprehended. He was arrested and charged with 18 counts, including attempted murder of a police officer, aggravated robbery. In 2015, Stone was convicted and sentenced to 160 years in prison. The 137 Shots Chase. On November 29, 2012, Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams led Cleveland police on a high-speed chase that ended in one of the most controversial police shootings in recent American history. The pursuit began when Russell's 1979 Chevrolet Malibu backfired near the Justice Center in downtown Cleveland, creating a loud bang that officers believed was gunfire. Over 60 Cleveland police officers and approximately 62 patrol cars from multiple agencies joined the chase, which reached speeds over 100 miles per hour through city streets. The pursuit lasted 22 minutes and covered approximately 23 miles through Cleveland and into East Cleveland. Russell drove erratically, running red lights, driving on sidewalks, and narrowly missing pedestrians. Officers believed they were chasing armed suspects, and some reported hearing gunshots during the pursuit, though the chase, as officers violated department policies by joining without authorization. The chase finally ended in the parking lot of Heritage Middle School in East Cleveland, when Russell's car became trapped by surrounding police vehicles. Officers surrounded the vehicle and opened fire in a sustained barrage that lasted approximately 20 seconds. When the shooting stopped, Russell and Williams were dead. 13 officers had fired a total of 137 rounds into the car. Russell was hit 23 times, and Williams was hit 24 times. Neither had been armed. The backfire that started the chase was the only gunshot that had occurred. A Department of Justice investigation found systemic problems with Cleveland police policies on use of force in vehicle pursuits. Officer Michael Brelo, who jumped on the hood of the car and fired 49 shots total, including his final 15 shots through the windshield, was charged with voluntary manslaughter, but acquitted in 2015. The Dancing Passenger Chase. On April 7, 2016, Los Angeles witnessed one of the strangest police chases in recent memory when 2 men led police on a pursuit in a blue Ford Mustang convertible following a burglary in Cerritos. The chase began around 1:24 p.m. when LA County Sheriff's deputies attempted to pull over the Mustang driven by 20-year-old Herschel Reynolds with 19-year-old Isaiah Young as passenger. Both were suspected of residential burglary. Reynolds refused to stop, instead leading police on a slow-speed pursuit through city streets and freeways. What made this chase bizarre was Young's behavior. He stood up in the moving convertible and began dancing and waving at news helicopters hovering overhead. He appeared completely unconcerned about the police pursuit, instead treating it like a party. The chase was broadcast live on local television, with news anchors struggling to describe the surreal scene. The Mustang traveled through downtown and Hollywood, with Young continuing to dance and gesture at pursuing officers. At various points, he appeared to be taking selfies and recording video on his phone. On Hollywood Boulevard in the rain, Reynolds performed multiple donuts and 360-degree spins. Young even threw an object at a TMZ tour bus that briefly blocked their path. Crowds gathered along the route, with some people cheering and recording videos as the convertible passed by. The chase continued for over an hour as Reynolds made loops through Los Angeles. Police followed cautiously, with helicopters tracking from above Street in South Los Angeles, and stopped. Both men exited the damaged convertible and began celebrating with friends waiting there, taking selfies and giving high fives. After a minute or two, sheriff's deputies arrived and surrounded the group. Reynolds and Young surrendered without resistance. Reynolds was charged with felony evading and burglary. The chase became an internet sensation, with Young's dancing trending on social media for days. The Boston Manhunt Pursuit. On April 19, 2013, Watertown, Massachusetts became the scene of a dramatic car chase and shootout following the Boston Marathon bombing. Brothers Tamerlan and Dzhokhar Tsarnaev had killed 3 people and injured hundreds with pressure cooker bombs at the marathon finish line on April 15th. After their photos were released on April 18th, the brothers went on the run. Late that evening, they shot and killed MIT police officer Sean Collier on the Cambridge campus, attempting to steal his service weapon. They then carjacked a Mercedes SUV in Cambridge, forcing the driver, Dun Meng, to ride with them at gunpoint. During the approximately 90-minute ordeal, the brothers told Meng they were the Boston bombers. At a gas station in Cambridge, Meng managed to escape when Dzhokhar went inside to pay. He immediately called 911, providing police with the vehicle description and location. Watertown police spotted the with the Tsarnaevs driving recklessly through residential streets. When officers cornered them on Laurel Street, the brothers exited the vehicle and opened fire with handguns. A fierce gun battle erupted in the quiet neighborhood. Officers took cover behind vehicles as bullets flew in both directions. The Tsarnaevs also threw improvised explosive devices at police, including pipe bombs and a pressure cooker bomb, with several detonating during the firefight. Transit police officer Richard Donahue was shot by friendly fire and nearly killed during the exchange. The gun battle lasted several minutes. Tamerlan Tsarnaev was shot multiple times by police. As officers moved toward his brother, officers dove out of the way as Chokhar ran over Tamerlan before speeding away. Tamerlan died from his injuries. Chokhar abandoned the damaged Mercedes and fled on foot, beginning a 19-hour manhunt that locked down Boston. He was eventually found hiding in a boat in a Watertown backyard. He was later convicted and sentenced to death. The San Diego Tank Rampage. On May 17, 1995, Sean Timothy Nelson stole an M60A3 Patton tank from a California Army National Guard armory in San Diego and led police on one of the most bizarre pursuits in American history. Nelson, a 35-year-old unemployed plumber and Gulf War Army veteran, was experiencing severe personal and financial problems. He had recently lost his home and was struggling with drug addiction. That afternoon, Nelson broke into the National Guard Armory on Mesa College Drive in Kearney Mesa. Security at the facility was minimal, with an open gate and no alarm system. The tanks in the vehicle yard were unsecured, requiring only a push-button starter to operate with no keys needed. Nelson tried unsuccessfully to start 2 tanks before the third M60A3 roared to life. A guard spotted him, but had no weapon to stop him. The 57-ton armored vehicle crashed through the armory fence and onto city streets. Police received calls about a tank driving through residential neighborhoods and initially thought it was a prank. When officers arrived, they found Nelson driving the massive tank down residential streets, crushing everything in his path. The tank's tracks tore up pavement and destroyed fire hydrants, utility poles, and traffic lights. Nelson crushed approximately 40 vehicles, including cars and a recreational vehicle. He knocked down power lines, cutting electricity to thousands of homes. He even attempted to knock over a pedestrian bridge on Interstate 805, but failed. Nelson drove the tank onto State Route 163, crushing more cars and forcing traffic to scatter. The tank's weight and steel through concrete barriers. Police followed at a safe distance, unable to stop the armored vehicle traveling at approximately 30 miles per hour. News helicopters captured live footage as Nelson drove through neighborhoods and over vehicles. The rampage continued for 23 minutes through Claremont and onto Highway 163. Finally, the tank became stuck on a concrete highway median. One of the tracks came off, and the vehicle could no longer move. 4 police officers quickly surrounded and climbed onto the immobilized tank. Officer Paul Paxton cut open the hatch with bolt cutters, while his partner, Officer Richard Piner, looked through the opening. Nelson sat in the driver's seat and refused to surrender, still trying to rock the tank free. Officer Piner fired. Nelson was pulled from the tank and transported to Sharp Memorial Hospital, where he died from his injuries. If you'd like to see more stories like this, make sure to subscribe and feel free to drop suggestions for the next video in the comments.